Hey, look, they made a game about me. I didn't think I'd be famous this fast. Damn it, the sticker fell off again. Okay, fine, you got me. I was kidding. It's called Dandy Ace, not Viscid Ace. But hey, I couldn't resist it, okay? Hey folks, I'm the magician Dandy Ace, and I'm gonna ask and answer a simple question. What is Viscid Ace? Wait a second, that doesn't sound right. I'm Viscid Ace, and I'm gonna talk about the game Dandy Ace. Sorry, got my words mixed up a bit. Dandy Ace is a brand new isometric action roguelite developed by Mad Mimic Studios and published by NeoViz. You play as the titular protagonist and fancy magician Dandy Ace, who's trapped in a cursed mirror and must fight through hordes of enemies with his magical cards in order to escape. Dandy Ace is a unique roguelite that combines the action of Hades with the ability combination system from Transistor to deliver a fast-paced combat experience with a room for a lot of customization and flexibility. The game starts off with the fabulous magician, Dandy Ace, being trapped inside of a cursed mirror by his jealous rival and apparently biggest fanboy, Lele, who kinda looks like Dr. Eggman's little brother. Now you're stuck in an ever-changing magical palace inside the mirror dimension, and you have to use your magical cards to fight your way out of there. You'll be assisted on this quest by your twin magical assistants and a mysterious rabbit merchant. When it comes to the gameplay, Dandy Ace plays like a mix of Hades and Transistor. The combat and movement are fairly fast-paced and also somewhat skill-based, with reliance on proper evasion, effective skill combination, and also learning enemy attack patterns in order to succeed. There are no weapons or even basic attacking in Dandy Ace. Instead, you can collect cards from enemies or shops, and these act as abilities that you can use. These abilities have a set cooldown, and you can use them as many times as you want. You can just drop the cards or sell them in case you find better ones. You start each run with 3 basic cards, and the core gameplay loop involves defeating enemies and confronting bosses while collecting better cards and experimenting with different card upgrades in order to improve your build. The combat itself requires you to be on your toes, reading and dodging enemy attacks while attacking back. It's fast, engaging, and fun. Cards come in 3 types: pink, blue, and yellow. Pink cards are usually attack spells with a very low cooldown. Blue cards are mobility abilities like dashes or blinks, and yellow cards are usually crowd control spells such as stuns or slow, but have a longer cooldown time than the other cards. Cards also come in tiers, which is basically like their level. Higher tier cards do more damage, but their effects are basically the same. You can only use 4 cards at a time though. If using a controller, which is the recommended input method, each ability is bound to a face button. But you can actually pick up and store up to 8 cards at a time. This is because Dandy Ace has a skill combination system sort of like Transistor if you played that. Each card has a main active effect and a secondary upgrade effect. You can either equip and use the card for its main active ability, or use that card to upgrade another card. When you use it to upgrade another card, the upgrade effect of the card is added to the other card's active. For example, if you upgrade the Flaming Rockets card with Poison Cloud card, the rockets will not only set enemies aflame but also poison them. This ability combination mechanic adds a lot of flexibility and customizability to the gameplay, and is the highlight of Dandy Ace. You can even pause during combat and swap your equipped cards and change their upgrades. This allows us to freely experiment with different card combinations in order to figure out which are more effective or just more fun. My favorite combination was actually Dancing Wand with Toxic Retreat, which allows you to throw a wand that bounces between enemies while turning them toxic. Toxic causes damage over time to the affected enemy and those around it. So this combo allows you to throw one magic wand and watch as it bounces between and melts a whole room of enemies. There are a lot of such fun card combinations for you to experiment with and have fun with in this game. In addition to the card upgrade system, you can further customize your build using trinkets. You can get up to 3 of them from your assistant, and these are basically passives to help you on your journey. These could be increased movement speed, increased dot damage, more health pots, or bonus damage after killing an enemy, etc. There are a decent number of these trinkets, allowing players to further customize their builds. Like most roguelites, Dandy Ace has a meta progression. You can collect shards by defeating enemies, which act as currency you can use to unlock new cards and further upgrades from shops. Coming to the visuals, the game has a very stylish aesthetic and tries to live up to the magician theme. I really like all the character designs, especially that of Dandy Ace himself. He really does look very extravagant and fabulous. Heck, he might even give Tarek from League of Legends a run for his money when it comes to being fabulous. Dandy Ace uses 2D sprites to represent all the characters as well as the enemies in the game. These sprites are simple and cartoony, but are well designed and well animated, with a unique charm to them. The enemies also have clear attack animations and effects, not only making the game look very polished, but also improving clarity. Similar to most roguelites, Dandy Ace uses procedural generation for its levels. The tile sets for each level are unique and also well designed and detailed. They even have some jokes and references in the background, which keeps things interesting. Your card abilities also look very good with well-designed visual and particle effects. They also sound impactful and appropriate. This also applies to enemies' attacks and abilities too. Clearly, a lot of attention to detail and TLC went into the making of this game. Dandy Ace sounds pretty good too. The OST lives up to the fabulous magician theme, and I don't know what genre of music this is, but it kinda sounds like party music and gets you hyped up during the fights. The devs said that one of their inspirations was Persona 5, and I kinda sorta can tell. I know this sounds weird, but the main theme for Dandy Ace sounds kinda sparkly, if music can even sparkle. The soundtrack is very simple, to be honest, but pretty colorful and peppy, and I kinda like it. Kinda disappointed though that I couldn't find a way to purchase it. It's currently not sold on Steam either, and that's a shame. The voice acting in this game is pretty decent. Sometimes it does sound a bit off, but overall, it does get the job done. It's mostly voiced only by 2 people, so it's kind of impressive that I couldn't even tell until I got to the credits. The star of the show is actually the antagonist Lele. No, not that Lele. This completely unrelated Lele also serves as a narrator, adding quips and references as well as maniacal laughs to the background.
You seem familiar. Can you tell me where I am?
No, I am definitely not familiar. I'm 100% certain that we've never met each other before. Okay?
He sounds cartoonishly evil and is actually pretty entertaining, but if you find him annoying, you can always turn down the narration frequency in the options. Alright, let's look at what Dandy Ace gets right and what it doesn't. Starting with the pros. Dandy Ace is fairly balanced and avoids a lot of RNG bullshit. All the cards have interesting active effects, and even if you don't like something, you can always use that card for its upgrade effect. Card drops are plenty and you'll find a lot of shops during your run too, so you won't get screwed by bad RNG. This avoids a lot of frustration and encourages experimentation with different card upgrade combinations and builds. The meta progression in Dandy Ace is also more horizontal than vertical. There aren't any upgrades that outright increase your HP or give you increased stats directly. The game is also very generous with the shards you get, so you'll always have enough to keep unlocking new cards and stuff. This means you never have to grind to make progress in the game and beat it. You get stronger by getting better at the game, learning new attacks, getting better at dodging, and learning how to combo different abilities. Not by merely grinding for upgrades, which was a huge complaint I had with Loop Hero. I covered that in my last video, and you can check it out if you're interested. The other thing I really love that I've sort of mentioned before is that the enemy abilities and attacks are pretty clear and fair to dodge. The basic dash does not have any iframes, but even then, attacks are easy to read, learn, and avoid. Dying in this game is less frustrating because it feels more like I died due to a mistake I've made rather than due to bad RNG or bad design bullshit. This game also circumvents a lot of backtracking by sprinkling ample teleporters in each level. This is a very useful quality of life feature as the game has branching paths in each level as well as multiple shops. So if not for this feature, this game would have a ton of backtracking. All these quality of life features and also the lack of forced grind does make Dandy Ace shorter. A single run will take roughly only an hour, and you should be able to beat the game in under 10 hours, even less if you're good. But that's fine because I'd rather have good quality over unnecessary quantity. Dandy Ace respects the player's time. It avoids unnecessary grinding and has a lot of quality of life features. Even after beating the game, I want to go back and do it all over again. because there's still a lot of different abilities and combinations I haven't tried yet. And I know that Dandy Ace will let me actually have fun without wasting my time with tedium. One more thing I'd like to mention is that the devs nailed the core gameplay. The gameplay is very fast-paced and skill-oriented, with a lot of room for customization with the card upgrade system as well as the trinkets. You can plan and execute different builds, which is made possible by the wide range of cards that are available in the game, all of which seem to be actually useful. Getting to the cons, Dandy Ace doesn't have any huge issues with it honestly. One issue I faced was with UI scaling. There are no UI scaling options, and on higher resolutions like 1440p, which I use, UI elements can get a bit too small for comfort. But that's not really a huge problem. Also, while there are a lot of different cards to play around with, all of which seem to serve a purpose, I'd actually like to have seen even more, especially more blue cards, which are the mobility abilities. Because out of the 3 card types, the blue cards have the smallest pool. These are the only gripes I have with Dandy Ace, and they're very minor. I think Dandy Ace is actually very polished and succeeds in being a very fun indie roguelike. This is actually Mad Mimic's second game, and it's very impressive what they were able to achieve. Okie dokie, let's look at the options menu before we wind up. Dandy Ace has decent options when it comes to gameplay. The game lets you rebind keys for the keyboard, and there's also an option for dash at cursor, which is invaluable if you're playing with mouse and keyboard. Audio options are also pretty decent, with separate audio sliders, and also option to change the narration frequency. I honestly like the narration from Lele, so I didn't fiddle with it, but if that's the kind of thing that might annoy you, it's a great option to just reduce it or completely turn it off. Coming to the video settings, they're not that in-depth. You can only change resolution, VSync, and full screen options. You know, the basic stuff. The game is pretty simple graphically and runs pretty smooth, so it's not a big deal. But I'd like to see at least options to adjust anti-aliasing and motion blur in any game, mainly because I have a personal grudge against these and I like turning them off. As I mentioned before, there are no UI scaling options here. It's not a big issue, but it would have been nice to have, as by default, the game's UI gets a bit too small for comfort on higher resolution screens such as 1440p and above. This game lacks a colorblind mode. As this is a fast-paced game with a lot of dodging colorful projectiles and such, it might impact the experience of people with colorblindness. It is said that about 4.5% of all people in the world have colorblindness, and that's actually a shit ton of people, and it would be nice if more games featured color-deficient options to help these people. On the bright side, the game does have some save file management and lets you copy your save file to a different slot so you can back up before entering a difficult encounter. There is also a dedicated Twitch mode which allows Twitch chat to make the game harder and stuff for you, which can be pretty handy if you're into streaming. When it comes to performance, Dandy Ace runs pretty well with no major bugs or issues as far as I'm aware of. I didn't encounter any stuttering or artifacting either. The game's frame rate is unlocked, and I was getting between 120 to 200 frames per second at 1440p on my 5700 XT computer. This isn't surprising considering the game is largely 2D. Alright, to the conclusion. Dandy Ace is a blast of a game, combining the fast action from Hades with the skill customization from Transistor into a very unique and fun roguelite. The card upgrade system adds a lot of customizability and flexibility to combat, as well as keeping the game excited even on repeated runs. Dandy Ace also respects the player's time and provides plenty of quality of life features, like very generous fast travel, etc. The game avoids tedium and tries to provide a high quality, fast and fun experience. The game also looks and sounds great. I have very little negative to say about this game, considering how well made and polished it is. The options could be better though. Colorblind options would have been appreciated, and obviously I'd like to see even more cards and moves from the illustrious Dandy Ace himself. But those are just minor gripes, and Dandy Ace was an absolute blast. I highly recommend this charming indie roguelike. Dandy Ace is available on Steam for 20 USD or 29 AUD or your regional equivalent. If you like games like Dandy Ace, then I can also recommend checking out Transistor, Binding of Isaac, and of course Hades if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and or dislike the video and roast me in the comments section. If you want to become a fabulous magician like Dandy Ace himself, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. Is there any evidence that'll work? Maybe not, but there isn't any evidence that it won't work, so don't miss out on this golden opportunity. It's been Dandy Ace, I mean Viskid Ace, and I hope to see you on the next one. Huh, I guess I'll just have to super glue the sticker on this time. No one will ever find out that this game isn't actually about me.